Hello, everyone. Welcome to the December 2022 technically annual meeting of the Oak Hills Park Authority. So we will be just calling to order. I will do the roll call of attendance just to make sure all authority members are here. So when you hear your name, just please raise your hand or say present. I'll start with TJ Trimboli.
Present.
Jennifer McAllister said that she would be dialing in a little bit late. So not here yet, but we'll note for the minutes when she does join. Gary Leeds. Motioned he's here. Alan Dutton.
Yeah.
Richard Dellinger.
Here.
Denise Brown.
Here.
And Joe Andrasco, I am here. So we have 6 of 7 right now, and expect to have a full 7 pretty soon. So we can get going. I think the next item up is acceptance of minutes from 11/17. They were sent out a couple of days, maybe measured in weeks, but a little while ago, and also just a couple of hours ago. Just for re-review, to bring it to the top of everybody's inbox. I sent back some email commentary. I have nothing to add beyond that. It'll be noted in the record for in the minutes of this meeting what those changes were. But does anybody have any changes they want to bring up over voice? Okay, hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the 11/17 minutes as amended via email?
So moved.
Can a second?
I'll second.
Okay. I'll just go, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And any abstentions?
I abstained because I wasn't here, so
That's
I
fine.
don't know what happened.
That's fine. Okay, so that's 5-4, 1 abstention, none opposed. So they are approved. Thanks, everybody. Next up is the chair's report. I'm sorry. Next up is public comment, and I'm not sure if we have anybody. Mark, can you see if we have anybody?
I can. We have 2 people. Now, this is the first time I'm going to do it, so please bear with me here. First up is Jane Walters. I'm going to allow you in right now.
Hello, Jane. Please, when you start public comment, make sure it's pertinent to something that's on the agenda and state your name, your address, and then let's try to keep it to about 3 minutes.
Jane Walters, 14 Bob White Drive, Norwalk. And I have no public comment. Charlie Brennan will be speaking on my behalf.
Great.
Okay, then I am going to put Charlie in.
Hi.
Hey, Charlie.
Charlie Brennan, Riverside Avenue, Norwalk. I had a few things that I just wanted to bring up. Some good things and some stuff that I was just a little concerned about. First, I'm glad to see something's finally going on with the restaurant, and I know you guys are going to talk about that later, but it's about time. Jane and Steve and myself have been meeting with a representative from Golf Genius, and I know Paul's going to be talking about that, but I think we have some really good things that Paul will be talking about with Golf Genius about getting some more people playing at the course. I think it'll bring in more younger people, which we need. It'll definitely benefit the tournaments we have, and it might bring in more tournaments. So it's definitely a really good addition to bring our course up to the next level. And it's not a lot of money, and I think that it's definitely something that we should definitely be looking at because it's a real benefit for all the associations and for all the tournaments that we bring in. It'll be a big selling point. The The other things I want to talk about was we did a bunker survey, which I think has helped Jim out with areas that the course needs to be worked on. We were talking about maybe the trees behind the 8T might have to get taken down sometime to help get some grass growing there. And the other thing I want to talk about, I looked at the rates that you're going to talk about tonight. The increase on the rates, I think, is fine. I mean, it goes along with all the other courses. But the one question I have is ID cards. Our ID cards for our resident and senior resident are like double what all the other courses are in the area. You know, I looked like Sterling, Smith, Brennan, and in Stanford, they're all like $70 for residents. Ours is $140 for residents, and their their seniors are like $60, and ours is $125. I'm just wondering. I mean, I'm not sure what the financial thing is, why these cards are so high, but I just want to say that maybe if these cards were lower, we might get more people buying cards, because I think you turn off the people that only want to play, the residents that only want to play once or twice a year. They're not going to spend that money for a card. But if the card was, say, under $100, they might buy it because they might get their money back. But if the card's $140, if they play twice, they're never going to buy it. And I've heard that from people. So I think the rates, like I said, the rates are fine. You going up a couple bucks, that's fine. That's within that, all the different courses around here. But I think the ID cards, I think, are just overpriced. And I'm not sure why, but you know, we don't really get anything extra other than the golf. You know, some of the courses, I mean, Tashoe has a pool there, and you know, Smith's got other stuff going on, but I mean, they have 2 courses and things like that. But ours are just, I think, if we were under $100, I think you'd get more people buying them. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yep.
I know you represent a lot of golfers, so we'll take all of that under advisement as we discuss those individual items later in the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mark, I'm not seeing anyone else in the participants window. And you're on mute, but I think you're saying yes. So I'm going to close public comment. And
Yes.
now I'll launch into the report of the chair, which will be very short, at least from my speaking perspective, because you know, I don't think there's too much to update on. But what I would like to do is mention that we have a new authority member, Gary Leeds, who's joined us, who brings a lot of great financial acumen to the board. We could always use more of it. But also is a park user. And, you know, in my conversations with him, it's very clear that he's very passionate and loves the park. So Gary, I don't know if that was a very high level introduction. If you'd like to take a couple of minutes and introduce yourself a little bit better, I'd love that.
Okay. I've lived in Norwalk for 16 years at this point. I've been a park user for about that time. Obviously, I love the course. Jim does an amazing job and has been from the first day that he got there. My background is, yes, I'm a CPA. I was in public accounting, and then most of my time frame was in corporate finance areas. So I bring that. I've also you know, walked the park lanes, you know, the nature course and all that. I'm not a tennis player any longer, so I don't know much about the tennis courts. But I think the park is a beautiful gem for Norwalk, and hopefully we can maintain it for many years to come. So I look forward to participating in this authority for my time frame.
Thanks, Gary. With that, I think we can launch into management reports. You know, I I will ask everybody to keep it to about 5 minutes if possible, because we do have a packed agenda and we'd like to get out at a reasonable hour. So if we can do that, we'll start with Paul.
Okay, thank you. Well, now that it's mid-December, snow has fallen to the ground and all the leaves are gone. Temperatures really dropped into the 20s, 30s, and 40s. And golf at Oak Hills Park now moves into the winter golf season, and rounds have slowed down dramatically. We've had golfers teeing off for an hour or two on Saturdays and Sundays, and those mostly are unlimited pass holders. But the rounds during the week, very, very slow, and a lot has to do with the weather. There's really not much golf being played any afternoon due to the lack of light and the cold weather. Recently on, let's see, but golf shop's been open 9:30, closes at 3, and those are pretty much the winter hours. Right now, the golf course itself is open at 10 o'clock every day. And just after Thanksgiving, we offered all golfers off-peak rates all day, every day. We have gone to temporary tees. I'm sure we'll go to temporary greens possibly next week. And if we do that, we go to winter rates. Golfers can play 9 holes now at any time during the day, which we don't usually offer during the golf season. December 1st, we closed the bag drop. Recently on Tuesdays, we went to the temporary tee recently this week. I've also been working on our 2023 outing schedule. It's something we do all winter long. Working on future golf tournaments, our golf clinic schedule, our golf schools schedule, and we've been working, Mark and I, on the proposed golf rates for the 2023 golf season. And as Charlie said, I've had a couple meetings with the Oak Hills Women's Golf Association and the Men's Golf Association to discuss 2023 golf events, ways to grow their membership, and the upgraded package of Golf Genius, which we use for all our golf outings, all the Oak Hills Park men's events and the ladies events. So the Golf Genius is a pretty good program. Right now, we're using a free package that's offered because we are members of the Connecticut State Golf Association. It's probably valued at $600 or $700. There is a premium package for $3,100, and it is really a premier package, internet-based. You can do all the scoring on the cloud, on your phone. There's really good ways to do advertise and reach lots of our customers. And what we do for outings is fairly basic. It's really alpha list, master list, cart signs, contest signs. So fairly simple for that, but obviously the premier package could help other ways as the club. And I think maybe the men's and women's golf associations are possibly looking for Oak Hills to help subsidize the package. We're also discussed about a 2023 Mayor's Trophy golf event. We've had those in the past, and or a 2023 Norwalk City Amateur Championship. Takes a little work, so that'd definitely be a team effort. Our 68 golf carts are really looking good. They went through their second season. They're really in good shape. I mean, we don't even really have many scratches or anything on them. They're all working good, and we've been keeping them in tip-top shape. And they're almost ready to be put away for the season. Our golf shop has its December sale going on right now. Most everything for men, 25% off, other than accessories, and women pretty much 30% off everything in the shop. All the merchandise for the 2023 season has been ordered, and delivery starts March 15th. We presently have a golf staff of about 10 members. 5 are on the inside golf staff, 5 are on the outside, and they're typically working 1 or 2 6-hour shifts per week. Peak season, we have 40 staff members, so we're really cutting down on our staff right now. Tim Blake, who's also works outside operations for us, has refurbished 3 of the 4 rooms in our old pro shop. Filled cracks in walls, sheetrock, little work, paint. So the building down there, after putting in the boiler in recently and the new roof, we're just refurbishing it and getting ready for another use, kind of upgrading everything at the park if we can. Let's see. So once he's done there, we probably just need some new carpet, and the place will look pretty good. Jim's also done a tee line for us at the range. It'll need to have some concrete put on it, and then we put some artificial turf on it. And that range is so small for the number of clinics we do, especially when it's wet, it really gets beaten up. And so most clubs do have an artificial tee line, and we just use that for all the beginners and all the clinics we push through. And, you know, believe it or not, this year we were having, I would say, almost 1 week, anywhere from 15 to 18 clinics per week. So our learn to play golf program and our junior programs are really busy at Oak Hills. The other thing I just wanted to do over the winter is, you know, for the last couple of years, even when our old pro was here, the golf shop has been very dark. There's 23 lights in there, 11 of them are out. And I think to start the season, we can get some new lighting in there because it kind of looks a little gloomy at times. But during the 2022 golf season, we hired 20 new members to golf staff, make sure everything's covered and runs smoothly. Mostly all part-time workers. They love to play golf at Oak Hills. We'll probably get a lot of returning staff members. I anticipate always trying to get a few new staff members. We do really have a great staff here at Oak Hills. They really work well
Hey,
together.
Paul, I'm going to ask you if we can wrap it up in the next couple of seconds.
All right, real quickly, I did interview a great 38-year-old assistant golf pro. He's got a lot of experience, and I'm going to hope to secure him at Oak Hills Park for the 2023 season. Other than that, 22 has been a great season at Oak Hills. It's probably better than I expected, anticipating, you know, fall off from golf as far as COVID or the inflation. But we had a busy year, and golf looks popular, and demand at Oak Hills is still staying fairly constant. The Golf Now software has really helped our tee sheet, driving golfers to Oak Hills Park. And obviously we have some of the best greens in the area, so our reputation is really growing well, and I expect another great year next year. Thank you, and if anyone has any questions, I'll be glad to answer anything you like.
Oh, I just had one question, and that was about the old golf shop. Any plans in specific about what you want
Well, we'd like to put some simulators in there.
to do with that place after you fix it up?
Well, eventually we could. We've been looking into putting some golf simulators in there that we could draw some people over the winter, rainy days, teach a little golf. But they're very popular, and most of the clubs are all doing it. And at the moment, it's somewhat wasted space.
Just curious. Thanks.
Paul, I'm just curious, and make sure you work with Mark on budget and making sure that the FTE and the payroll budget is there for any hiring that you do.
Absolutely. Yep.
Any other questions for Paul?
I was just wondering, where do you stall or the carts?
Oh, we have a big cart barn behind the 6th green, holds 68 carts, probably has room for 70, and then there's a bench and some tools. And yep, nice cart barn, good shape.
Not a question, but it does look like a great season. Thanks very much for all
Yeah,
the
it's been a great season. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Paul. Jim, you're next.
Okay, first things first, back to Paul's talk. I would love to help him out, try to get this assistant in there. I think it'll raise the level of service all around, all across the park, for everything. It's a win-win, regardless of whatever extra it may cost. I think it's a wise thing to do. Now to my report, all's well with the course. All of our winter applications are down. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get our deep tine aeration in on the greens. And with the weather that is forecasted so far, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to. That's too bad. Normally, we don't have frozen ground this time of year. We're normally able to get that in. The pump house, the irrigation system, they've been fully winterized. So they're all set to go for, these cold temperatures coming. I replaced a heater in the hot box, it's a box where the city water feeds into the pump house area that's above ground, and the heater wasn't working. So we fixed it. We put a new one in, minimal cost. The base, like Paul said, the base for the lesson tee pad is in. and I'm waiting. I did get a quote for the form construction and the concrete pour. It's a little much. I'm gonna have to get one or two more, I think. But we have till spring to get that done, no problem. We started the replacement of the bunker on 2. The bunker's gone. Today I finished up shaping all the soil that I brought out there. And there's a little gully there. Fortunately, there was a drain in that bunker, which actually it did work, but the contamination of the sand was so bad. The original architect never had it in the plan, so I took it out. So the soil is shaped out there. We're gonna have to do some fine tuning in the spring and sodding. But right now, sodding is out of the question until spring. The halfway house is fully winterized. You know, that building doesn't have heat, so we blew that out and all the water is blown out of the lines. The bathrooms are stripped. The walls in the bathrooms have been painted. And we picked a gray color. It's a little less drab than the yellow that was in there. I don't know whose choice that was, but kind of made things kind of dark. So we've got, you know, bright LED ceiling lights coming in. We got new toilets, we got faucets, mirrors, and vanities. And all we're waiting for now is the vanities. And once we put everything in there, I think it'll look pretty good. It'll definitely be a big improvement as to what was there anyway. Unfortunately, the floor is tile, and unless we put a vinyl hard plank down, it is what it is. I just don't see the reason why we would have to do it, because we can essentially clean it real easy as it is right now, even though it's old and scratched up and stained. The tennis building is winterized. We did get the nets and the windscreens down. Somebody did drive through one of the chains we put up. It had a pipe on it with reflective tape on it. Drove right through it. Hopefully they didn't have too much damage on their car. Oh, well, I don't know if you guys are cynical like me, but anyway. We are ready to start in the rental unit at the kitchen in the rental unit. I don't think we're going to be able to do what we had planned with the full kitchen reno, just because I did get an estimate and it was from the lowest bidder on another kitchen that was done on the property. And it's pretty high over the estimate that we had put in the capital budget. So I'm requesting somebody to come and kind of help me out to make a decision on what we should do. Alan and I have already discussed it a little bit, but maybe somebody else's input might help out a little bit. I would appreciate
Hey,
that.
Jim,
Yeah,
are we still planning on doing the siding?
yeah, I have one bid so far. Another guy came to look today,
Okay,
and that's going to be a little bit over,
okay,
at least according to the first bid. But with what I'm saving at the halfway house bathrooms by doing it ourselves, it
perfect.
is covered by, you know, the leftover money.
Yep.
So I thought there was another thing I had to mention, but no, that's my report.
Okay, Jim, I saw that in the note about the walkthrough, and I
Yep.
sent you a note back. Realistically, I'm not going to be able to do it until January, but I'm happy to do it in January if it can wait that long.
Okay, I mean, it's kind of a group decision here because, I mean, either we're gonna rent it out or hopefully Paul gets his guy and can put him in there. But I guess we have a little time at least. I was thinking we were in a hurry to rent it out, but you know, hopefully we take a different direction here with an assistant for Paul, but
all of that just has to be presented to us as a financial package, a complete assessment of the financial implications, and we will make a business decision on how to use that asset.
Yep.
Until we see that, we're not making any decision about how to use that asset.
Okay.
Hey, Jim, can you tell us which bunkers you're going to work on after 2?
Well, none until we have planned for using money for it. And we have a company hired to come in and do it, because it's not something, the professionally lined bunkers are going to be far better than anything that any golf course can do in-house. So it's kind of like a 2-year wait, at least. I mean, we're trying to get, I'm trying to get it together. I'm trying to get ballparks from construction companies. It's something about this season that nobody wants to call me back or do a little work to give me a ballpark. And, you know, I may end up getting it in the mid-January so that we can plan properly. But I have all the measurements. I've done a lot of the legwork. I've contacted some guys, and getting responses is really tough this time of year. So I'm working on it. But, you know, it pretty much falls in line with the survey. If you saw the results of the survey, it's pretty much exactly what I thought. So if that helps.
Yeah, that's fine. Just want to see 17 bunkers fixed.
Yeah, so do I. Anything else?
Any other questions? Yeah. Okay, thank you, Jim.
Good.
Mark, the financial report.
In the interest of time, I have nothing additional to say about it other than what was already presented in the agenda. I'll just mention that just real quick, November was another good month. We're going to start seeing bad months per se, in the sense that everything is going to go down December through February, but I think we'll probably still continue to hit budget, and we're already well over budget, so that's good. And I've just been pretty busy, busier than normal for this time of year, with my hands kind of in a lot of different projects going on. So I will happily, though, if anybody has questions on my report or anything financial, fire away.
Mark, looking forward to 2023 and sort of what we have to have lined up in a row going into 2023. I don't think there's much hope of us making a draft budget before the end of the year. Well, you may make it, but I'm not going to be able to give it due diligence. I know that. But, you know, sometime in January, let's try to put pen to paper.
Yeah.
And work through those things, especially
My plan.
Excuse me, go ahead.
Yeah. No, sorry. Again, I think just because I've been working on a few different things other than my normal day-to-day and everything, and it's only the 15th of the month, I've got a little bit more to do to finish up the actual month-end close for November. And then I mean, there's holidays and everything, so I'm not going to be around as much, but I can breathe a little bit. So I can start the process of the preliminary budget before the end of the year. And then I may just come in January, before I even start closing the books, I'll just finish that up and get it over to you, so that we at least have that several weeks for you to have review time and so forth.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. And any contractual things that we know about, like insurance or any other items that may be changing, you know, make sure to weave them in.
Just a newbie's question. Do we do a fiscal year budget July to June, or do we do a calendar year budget?
We only do a fiscal year budget, but the city requests that we do a preliminary, kind of a very generalized, easy budget by January 1 for the following July through June. So almost, 6 months to a year and a half early. And that's the one that's a little tough to try to get to, as Joe was just asking about.
So we have a budget for the fiscal year ending June of 23.
Yes, and then we'll have one, I'll start working on that again, probably around the March timeframe. And then that's usually, ratified in the June or possibly May meeting.
Okay, can you send me just the fiscal year 23 budget
Yeah,
when you get
sure.
a chance? Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Any other questions for Mark? All right. Thank you, Mark.
you.
Going back into the agenda, that closes out management reports, item number 5. So we can go into item number 6, which is committee reports. And again, I'll just ask everybody to keep it to around 5 minutes if possible. Oh, Denise, you're up.
Start. Hello, everybody. So yes, obviously the courts are closed. They closed probably around mid to end November. And Jim, thanks for getting the nets taken care of. Are they in the office? Are the nets put in the office?
Yes, we always put some plastic down on the carpet and drop them in there.
Is there any room to move?
Probably not.
I think I took out everything that I needed to, but in case I had to just take a look around, but
Let me know and I'll go take a look. My guys did it, so
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet.
So I worked with 121 Marketing to kind of put together the fall programs that we've tried to put together for, outside of the Kings Highway lease agreement. And 121, I thought they did pretty well. I had one gal who worked with me to set up the programs, put everything on the website, and help blast everything out through the emails. And she was great. She was a very young, kind of energetic girl, and it was really good to have that one person. The only thing that didn't work out well was when she wasn't there and they gave me like a sub. There was a couple of glitches with communication and stuff. So it really was helpful to have like one person to follow up with. So working with her from September through November was really good. So I do think that, I like the company and I think that, they have a good program. And, thank you, Paul, for getting me in touch with them and letting me work directly with them. I think it was a lot easier for me to work directly with them than back and forth with you, kind of, just keeping it simpler. Joe, I know that it's not a priority at this minute, but I'm hoping that we can, in January, start to look at what I have to do to name the patio. And I can take it over from you if you don't have time, we can talk about that in January, hopefully. Great. Because we're going to try to have our welcome dinner in May. So I'd like to have it all connected to that time frame, if possible. And let's see. I'm going to write up a kind of a preliminary report with everything that kind of went on this summer and working with Kings Highway and Jeff Goki. And I'd like to put it together, have everybody review it. And then when I have my meeting with Jeff in, say, February or March, I'd like to present that report to him, the pros and cons of how the programs were run. And then on the last note, the programs that I was initiating in the fall, we brought in around $3,000 extra. So I thought that was pretty good between ladies tournaments, the juniors program. I got a lot of positive feedback from the parents from the juniors program. They wanted more. So maybe, I can work with that for the next fall and expand the program. We brought in the pro Chris Mayotte, and he was very helpful. He's very energetic. He's got a lot of good ideas. So I'm hoping to use him next fall too, to continue the programs for the 3 months that we have the courts open when we have them on our own. And that's kind of it. Pretty much. If anybody has any questions, please let me know.
Just a comment again, Denise, to what a good job you're doing with raising money. Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I have help. I have Rich, I have the Friends of Tennis, and, there's people
Yes.
who are kind of seeing that, we want to progress the program so that they're getting interested in coming on board and chipping in when they can. So it's good.
And just, I know I was on mute and I was nodding, Denise, but in case for the record, yes, let's talk in January about fast tracking that as best we can, the patio naming.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Any other questions for Denise? If not, we can move on to Alan with the restaurant committee.
Not a lot to report on the restaurant committee. I believe the restaurant is now currently closed at this moment in time. Don has some private parties booked, I think, in November and December. I got something in the mail for a New Year's Eve function going on. So mainly private parties going on in the restaurant at this moment in time. I think as we move, I think Don is planning on opening, is looking at after St. Patrick's Day, possible early early April to reopen the restaurant fully to the members at this moment in time. That's all I have.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for Alan? All right, moving right along. I think it was Jerry with supporters. I hope I'm right. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Yeah, Jerry.
Yeah, the supporters activity is going to pick up now. I met with Mark. He turned over all of the financial information to me, and we'll get the thank you letters and the proof of what people gave to the supporters and to Oak Hills for improvements. And that's it.
Is that for tax year 22?
22. Yeah, our target date is the end of January.
Okay.
When all the tax information is.
Are you going to do another cleanup? And maybe this is also for Tennis Friends. Are you going to do another cleanup for any donations that come in right at the end of the year?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Jerry, can I? Go ahead.
Somebody else have a question? Go ahead.
Jerry, can I ask you how you tell people about the organization and how to contribute, and how I just never, I saw early in the season something on the website and never saw anything again.
Well, the most active people are the tennis group.
Mm-hmm.
So they're well aware of what they're doing and the plans and so forth. But they're the only, well, I shouldn't say the only one. The group that takes care of the non-sporting part of the activities, the nature group, they have raised money in the past when they've had a goal. So I don't know what their plans are. I don't know if anybody's going to talk about that tonight. And as far as the golf goes, there's no plans in place right now for any activities. So we just rely on people, if they feel like they want to give money to the golf course for improvements, they'll do that.
Okay, I'm not even sure the golfers know that this nonprofit exists at this point in time.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, awareness is always a good thing.
Jerry, if you need any help with anything concerning all the tennis donations and stuff, let me know.
I will be addressing it very shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions for Jerry? Okay, and let's move on to Nature Advisory Committee. Audrey couldn't be with us tonight, but she did send a short blurb for me to read. And I'll do that now. It says, the Nature Center is quiet during the winter, but by next month's meeting, the Nature Advisory Committee will have met and will share plans for walks, events, and maintenance of the trails, garden, and meadow. So we should have that to look forward to in January. That would close the committee reports, item 6. And we can go into item 7, which is the pricing proposal for 2023 calendar year. So may I have a motion to review and consider the pricing proposal for 2023, which is included in summary form in the agenda. And I know there was some a little bit of additional information sent out to the board members. So may I have that motion?
So moved.
With a second?
I second.
Right. Any opposed? Any abstentions? We'll consider that passed, and we'll move on to discuss this pricing proposal. So,
Sorry, guys, I just joined.
oh, very good. Let the record show, let the minutes show, 7:42, Ms. McAllister joined. So let's go in. Paul, I think you're taking the presentation. Is that right?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, basically, what Alan and Mark kind of looked at all the rates from all the golf courses in the area. Majority of them are north of us. I called 7 pros, those same clubs, spoke to all of them. I also talked to some other professionals, Rockland County, Westchester County. But it was pretty unanimous across the board that everybody was raising rates $1 or $2, plain and simple. You know, we went along with just a $1 or $2 raise and basically to kind of maybe make up for some of the costs we'll experience next year due to inflation, rising prices, minimum wage going up again. And we just kind of left it very modest and trying not to make it painful and, you know, to look at a little bit for the best interest of Oak Hills, but also be fair to our golfers. So we thought that was fairly fair. And, you know, concerning what Charlie said, you know, I can see his point for sure. You know, we probably raise it, the membership fee every year. Some years more than others, but I can see both sides to his point there. But other than that, we just really tried to keep it, you know, fair as far as the price goes. And the annual pass or the unlimited pass, we really thought that it was a good number and it was working good for Oak Hills and for our golfers. So we kind of left that alone pretty much. If anybody has any questions.
Very, very minimal increase on a couple of those categories in the season pass. Yeah.
So I downloaded the 7 other golf courses, you know, just and sat with Mark. We did some comparisons as to what are they charging and what do we charge. And there's no doubt we are basically all the courses, all the municipal courses in this area on course fees are like about a $1 or $2 a head on most areas and most categories. So we should know that. I think the 2 areas that we look to get revenue from is actually rounds. And then, which brings us, I think, Mark, you're projecting about, if you put $1.25, which is the average between $1 increase for pass holders and $2 for non-residents, correct? And you came in with $1.25. Is that how we did it? So pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because it was dollar raise for most of the categories, but I think only 1 or 2 we did the $2.
And with the $2 for the people, the non-residents per se.
Yep.
Which is, I think, obviously charge those guys more. And that was going to, you know, give us about $50,000 worth of revenue, 40,000 rounds, $1.25 average. The ID cards, just to give people an idea, with 1,100 ID cards, the idea was to take them up like about $10, I think, for regular adult members, and then $5 for seniors. My opinion, I'm actually with Charlie on this. I think that we should freeze that actual resident ID cards, because these are the people that live in Norwalk. These are the people that pay taxes. And I think I don't think we can reduce them, because I don't think that makes sense in this inflationary idea. But, you know, if we do that, you know, it's $7,000 worth of extra revenue that we wouldn't be getting. But I think it would I think it's a good way to go. And I think it sends a good message. So that's my 2 cents.
I made that observation just kind of relativistically, Alan, and Charlie, you know, was his voice was in my head as I was doing the math, but these season passes are going up about 1%, and rates are going up maybe 2-3% for greens fees.
Season passes going up a lot, $10 basically.
No. I mean the annual pass.
Oh, the annual pass. Okay, I
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
talking.
So
Okay.
the discount cards, so those are going up maybe 1%. Greens fees 2-3%, and others are 0. And then these ID cards are going up 7-8%. And that seems like an inequity to me, especially, given kind of the mismatch between how much greens fees are going up and these cards are going up. And then to think that someone else gets an unlimited pass for 1% more. I know the price points are all different, but it does seem like a little bit of an inequity to me and an access sort of question. I think, Alan, I would be more aligned with you to say, what can we do that's, meaningful to some of the golfers who would have a price point as a problem, to be able to purchase these ID cards. And for the amount of revenue that we're talking about, I think one call it gesture would be to freeze them. Yeah. Am I reading these analytics right? That the average increase here would be expected to be about $7, and with the 1,100 that would be sold, the net impact of this increase would be 78,000 in revenue.
Yes.
Yep.
And I might consider a revised proposal to freeze them at prior year levels.
Can you tell me, is there enough differential between the resident rate and the non-resident rate? I don't know how that compares to other golf courses and that type of thing, but it seems to me that, you're for a non-resident adult, I'm looking at the rate at December 1st, 22. It's $90 different, and then in March it's $100 different. Is that enough differential between resident and non-resident in relation to other courses? Or should it be greater? Should we rate our non-resident rates, more? Should there be a greater differential between a resident and non-resident?
I think there's a basically looking at the numbers between adult residents, it's $38 for a peak during the week and $50 for a non-resident during the week. So it's a $12 difference, I think. And then on the weekends, it's $41 for a resident and $62. I'm talking, so that's a little more, I think, with the numbers I'm looking at.
Well, I just want to make sure we're clear on the terminology here, because we have residents and non-resident discount ID holders, and those rates are very close together. Then we have, non-members, not someone who has not bought a pass or ID card, and the differential there is up to $20 or whatever it is. So, and that is because they didn't pay for any type of membership.
Yeah, and I'm saying the resident card. I'm not talking about the rate, the daily fee. I'm talking about, a non-resident for $240, okay, gets the same rights as a Norwalk taxpayer, and it's only $100 more than what a resident rate is. Is that enough differential for somebody who doesn't live in town, or should it be greater? And that way, if we want to hold the resident rates and hold them at the same rate, should we increase non-resident card holders, a little bit more? I don't know. You said we have 1,100 card holders. How many of those are residents and how many are non-residents?
We have a
I don't have that.
large percentage of the income at Oak Hills comes from the non-residents. It might be close to 50-50 or 60-40. But we could find that out.
But again, I want to make sure a large amount of money that comes in is also from complete non-members, right? So just walk-on fees, someone who hasn't paid any type of.
Yeah, and I'm not. I'm not talking about the daily fee. I'm talking about the resident card.
Yep.
If we want to hold,
Yeah,
our
I looked at
our
that
resident
metric.
cards.
Mhm.
I looked at that metric when we were doing some of the analysis, and I don't remember what it is right now. I apologize, but I can get you the split.
I just think we ought to think about that if we want to hold our resident at the same fee, which would be really nice. Everyone, I think the residents would appreciate it. And can you make it up by increasing the other guys, another $10 or something?
Yeah, I think, Gary, the question is, as you're asking, how many non-residents, adults and senior guys are there, basically, compared to the resident adult and senior membership deal? Because it's only $100 difference, you're right, so. Good point.
Just take another look
Yeah.
at it, just see if you can make up the difference that way.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at this and the way I think of the kind of access and the fee that's being paid is, supposing we go back to the 22 rates and don't put these in, the average discount that is bought by a non-resident card is $8, and the average resident discount is $9. And so at these price points, break even for a non-resident is at about 24, 25 rounds, and it's 12 to 13 rounds for a resident. So that, I mean, in those terms, I do feel like the residents are getting the deal that should be afforded to residents relative to non-residents. So I think there's a way to look at this without kind of referring out to other courses and things like that, although that is useful information. But just looking at the data that we have, is it enough of a differential? In my view, thinking about 24 break even versus 12 break even, or 25, 13, yeah, that does seem like enough distance to make it more worthwhile for residents.
And I'm just saying that if you want to hold the residents at the same rate, should you increase the non-residents another $5 or $10? And it may not be that much of a differential. It may not even be, it's maybe one more round for them to break even. I'm more concerned about the annual pass, if you want to know the truth. I don't think there's enough differential there.
We were looking at some of the numbers for the annual pass, and it's majority all Norwalk residents, very few non-residents. All residents.
Are you able to expand on that with numbers?
I would say if we sold 52 last year, Mark knows it's got to be close to 48 or 49 residents. Wouldn't you say, Mark?
I'm sorry. I was trying to open a file. What was the question?
The large majority of all the unlimited pass holders are all Norwalk residents. Remember, we were looking
Yes, definitely. More, both adult and senior residents are definitely the ones that are buying the passes more than non-residents. And there's only, I believe, 4 limited passes that we sold last year versus, I guess the rest would be, 46, 47 unlimited. So those are definitely more popular.
So we are really taking care of some of our residents who play a lot of golf because they're getting all their early tee times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Would it be, I know we already limit the number that we sell. Would it be wise to make sure that kind of Norwalk taxpayers get preference for these things to limit the number that we would sell to non-residents? Maybe that's something that's not currently in play, but something that would seem like an imbalance, like if we limited it to 10 non-resident and 40 resident and max at 50. Would that make sense? Gary, would that address your concern?
Well, since you only had 4 last year,
At the moment.
the other thing that you could do is you could announce just the resident unlimited until March. And if a non-resident wanted to buy something, that's fine, type of thing. But if you had 48 out of the 52 we're resident, I don't think it matters that much.
Okay.
One thing you could bring up for discussion, obviously with the annual pass, unlimited pass, we can keep it. We did it when at a tough time when Oak Hills was financially, didn't have any money, but we're doing good now. But obviously, you can eliminate the pass. Everybody buys membership cards. One thing we did do to encourage the sale of that pass in 2020 during COVID was to give the annual pass holders 9 days. The members get 8 days. The general public gets 7 days advance booking. If you wanted to be fair to more of the 1,100 members, we can, and maybe this is something for next year, but don't necessarily have to give the annual pass holders those 8 days. In fact, I do have some stats that say Oak Hills was the only course that did allow an extra day to book tee times amongst 5 other clubs in the area that do have an unlimited pass. So it's just another option.
So basically take away the option to people with 50 passes to book a day earlier than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You think we'd lose a lot of people because of that?
If you
Probably lose
take,
20,
if you take-
25%.
if you take away the extra day for the unlimited, you're not going to have anyone buy them.
More than likely, yeah.
So I didn't play enough rounds to make that pay off this year, but the extra day to book the tee time is why I buy it.
I agree.
And my analysis definitely supports that, Gary. You're not the only one.
Got it.
Any
The other,
questions?
the other thing that I would suggest, okay, and we've heard this at other courses, if you want to help build the men's club, is think about if you're a member of the men's club, you get an advantage on the tee time. What you're saying is a pass holder gets a Passover gets 8 days. Maybe members to the men's club, get something as well. So think about that as we go forward.
What's it cost to join the men's club, Gary?
What?
What's it cost to join the men's club?
It's like it's $85 to join the men's club, which I'm just saying, if we're trying to build up the men's club, we ought to think about what's the advantage to join it. And I don't think we have enough time to decide that this year. Because you still have the unlimited people have 9 days. I don't know if you want to give your men's club the same advantage without some sort of monetary contribution. So I don't have a proposal on that, but there are some courses that if you're a member of the men's club, you get you're ahead of the rest of the public.
But I think that a lot of the pass holders are in the men's club.
The annual people.
And if the only reason that you're buying a pass is to get that extra tee time, then why give the men's club an extra day? Because then nobody will get the pass.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is I don't have a good proposal on that. I'm just saying
Yeah.
I've heard that also. And, so maybe annual people get 10 days, and the men's club get 9 days, and the pass holders, the general get 8 days before the general public, I don't know. As I say, I didn't think that through very much, but I just want to put it in everyone's head that if, perhaps we think about that throughout the year as we talk to the men's and women's clubs.
Good idea.
I mean, the men's club, had 200 members this year? And when Shelley was here, it was 450.
A little bit of the sign of the times though nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, it may not be, the same relative type of thing, but I mean, the last few years have been kind of crazy.
So any further questions on this proposal?
So are we gonna think about the adjustment? Or are we supposed to be voting on this? Are we thinking about possibly adjusting the non-resident to the resident card? Or,
I'm not quite following.
I think Denise is saying, should we discuss the possible adjustment of the actual ID cards for keeping the residents with no increase? Is that right, Denise?
yeah, and then offsetting it by increasing it slightly more for the non-resident.
The trouble is we don't know what the numbers are, so it's kind of hard to come up with the idea at the moment because we don't know how many non-resident cardholders we have. I don't think.
I would keep this relatively simple. If we're going to entertain adjustments to this, we can kind of think about them individually. But I think greens fees seem reasonable. Carts staying fixed is very reasonable. Unlimited passes, I think keeping them where they are is kind of commensurate with the increases in greens fees. They're modest increases. And then we come to the ID cards, which is where, after hearing from Charlie and kind of mulling over what Alan said, maybe the right thing to do here, given the kind of revenue that it generates or it would generate, is keep them all where they are. We have a pretty good book of clientele right now that's playing the course a lot using these cards. And this would be something that could really help maintain that through 2023. So that's what I would go with. I don't, if we do $5 here or $5 there, it really becomes a small amount of money. So that would be kind of my view on it.
So Joe, if you're okay with it, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna copy 2022 current rates for ID cards and replace that in the proposal, effectively making no increase in any of the ID card rates, and everything else stays the same with the $1 or $2 and the small increases in annual passes.
Well, yeah, I'm okay with you working in a spreadsheet. There's nothing systemic about this that's going to actually start charging people differently. So,
Well, no,
I'm fine
I
with
just
that.
meant if people are going to make a vote on what we're looking at in a public forum here, this way at least it reflects what we're going to vote on.
Sure.
We don't want to increase the non-member cards.
I don't particularly see the need to. I think it would be an immaterial amount of money.
So Joe, I was talking about the resident cards. When I made I was talking about the non-resident cards, people can still buy them, right? But they're not residents of Norwalk. They're from different areas outside of the city, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I was kind of thinking more on the resident part of it, but it's whatever. I'm not that concerned. But
This is for us to decide. If we're amending the proposal, we can use any principles that we'd like, as long as it's kind of reasonable. If we want to say freeze the residents, give the non-residents a $5 increase, I would be fine with that as well, as long as we're not going haywire. I think this is all on the table.
But we're not locking ourselves into all of this tonight, are we?
Yeah, this would be when we approve the pricing for access to the golf course for 2023.
Okay.
So in final form, it would come through a motion. Someone can be very clear about what they want to be approved, and then we can do a voice vote individually saying yay or nay on those items.
So if I go back here and we take a look at what was initially proposed with the increases, we had $10 for non-resident adult and $5 for non-resident senior. So as you just said, Joe, we can play with those numbers. We can put them back in.
I mean, I think it makes sense to keep the resident cards at the 2022 price and
Right.
increase the non-resident people. But keep,
I'm good with that too. I like that idea.
I kind of like that idea. Keep the residents, senior and adult, freeze them. The non-resident, adult and senior, they can go up basically.
I agree with that.
I like that idea too.
I do too.
Are we ready for a motion? I can make it if everyone's okay with that.
Yep.
yeah,
And in my view, I would keep it simple and just do $5 on non-residents. That would be the increase on ID cards.
Okay.
Step
What
into
do we?
the-
How does that compare to $5 on what 210 would go to 215? Do we have 230 originally? Mark, next.
After the March 1st.
We originally had 220 and 240 suggested.
220 to 240, right?
Right.
So
On
what are we
adult, on adult.
So what are we talking about going to then? 220 to what?
235.
Okay.
so you
Okay.
said you had 240.
Right. So
I'm
it
okay.
was, so right now in 2022, it's 210, it was 210 and 230. So we had originally suggested a $10 increase there to go to 220 and 240. Joe is suggesting just $5 for non-residents, whether adult or senior. So I just added $5 for those two categories.
Leave the senior alone and just charge $5 for the non-resident adult. How about that?
But the senior's still a non-resident though, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the next time we do this, it would be really good to have a comparison to what we had in the prior year. I don't care if it, so long as we increase the non-resident a little bit, I think we ought to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a high inflation. Everything costs more for everybody, whether you live in Norwalk or not. I would, $5 is not a big increase. It's not a big percent increase. It's something that kind of recognizes this is not going to be a major increase for anyone, but it does add a little bit to our revenue and covers some of our costs. So it's not meant to be, a big revenue generator, incremental revenue generator in my mind here. So it's something that kind of keeps expanding the discount difference between residents and non-residents, but not in an egregious way.
I'm okay with it.
Okay, so let's put it to a vote. I would make a motion, or I do make a motion, to take the proposal as per the agenda for greens fees, cart fees, and annual passes as is, but amend the ID cards to keep resident rates flat to 2022 and increase non-residents by $5 versus 2022. Does anyone second that?
I second that.
And let's go by voice vote. So I'll go in order. And I'll start with TJ.
Yeah, I'm in for that.
Okay. Jennifer McAllister.
I agree with that.
Gary.
I agree with that.
Alan.
Agreed.
Rich.
I just have a question and clarify. It's to raise the non-resident discount card for both the seniors and adults, $5 each. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, I'll go with that.
Denise.
I agree.
And I agree. So that is 7 votes for that proposal. So we've got a pricing plan for next year. That's great.
Good.
And we're being fair to everybody that lives in Norwalk.
I think so.
We're just going to keep the people coming to the course.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. That closes out item number 7. And I think we're actually pretty close to being on time. What we're going to do next is go into executive session. And for the Oak Hills Park Authority members and the invited guests, that means we're going to we're going to make a motion to do so. And then we're going to close out this meeting. It's going to stay open. We're going to move into the executive session link that should have come from, I think, Zulma Roundtree in your inboxes. And do the executive session in that forum. We'll then close that, come back into public session, and then take any actions that we need to take at that time. So can I get a motion to go into, actually, I'll make the motion to go into executive session because I'd like to also make that motion to include inviting Mark Gartner, the controller, and Randy Avery, the Oak Hills Park Authority's attorney, in the executive session. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any opposed? All right. I'll see Oak Hills Park Authority members and Mark and Randy in the executive session.
Good night.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Bye.
I'm
Thanks, Paul.
appreciate it. Welcome, Gary.
See ya.
Joe, you're on mute.
We've got everybody back from executive session. We discussed the food and beverage license agreement in greater detail. No decisions were made and no votes are required to be taken in executive session. And we continue to work to resolve service and the contract negotiations with Dry Dock Smoking Aces. So I'd like to solicit a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
I second.
All right, I'll assume no opposed. Thanks, everybody. Good meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Happy holidays too.
Good
Happy
night.
holidays.
Merry
Right.
Christmas.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays.
Take care.